everybody. Welcome back to another Batman News Weekly. This is episode 102. And I don't even know why I say, oh, there's not a lot to talk about, because every time I say that, we go over 2 hours. But we don't have a lot to talk about. The biggest news is we have a new Batman writer, which is going to be very interesting. We're going to talk about that, but we like to knock out the entertainment news first. We are going to be talking about that Titans episode number 5, and then, of course, comic books. But I think one of the biggest news that we should talk about that just came out, Clay, was that we talked about it a little bit on this podcast before, but Black Canary is getting a film. And I feel like, wasn't there like there wasn't a wager, but I know you said, like, what would you do if Black Canary gets a film? And I was like, I said some bullshit back in the day. I was like, you know what? I'll believe it when this and that or whatever. Because I think it
Well,
was about Twitter metrics or some bullshit.
the whole thing was the fact that I think more so like with the whole Snyder Cut thing,
Mhm.
um after the movie came out, Journey Smollett was like, "Oh man, I really need to get on this. When's the next one? Blah blah." And so every single person that's a Zack Snyder fan is like, "Oh my god, Black Canary needs to be the head of the next Justice League by Zack Snyder." It's just like people like as soon as one actor shows any interest towards Zack Snyder,
Mhm.
all the Snyder cultists are just like, they are the like son of or god of this and blah blah blah. And it's just like, these are just people.
Yeah.
Like,
They just want a
Jesus
job.
Christ. I don't understand why like you have to act like each individual is like the next messiah with these things.
Yeah.
They're actors who need jobs. Like, that's
Yeah.
basically it. And if they enjoy the source material, if they actually enjoyed the content, then cool. That's cool. But I'm not gonna freaking slob on freaking Henry Cavill's knob if he just
Mhm.
wants to be Superman. Like, he's a cool Superman. I really enjoy him as Superman. But
Yeah.
if he no longer wants to be Superman, I'm not gonna be like, well, fuck him, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's always the funniest thing about, I mean, it's funny, but at the same time, at least these people were getting recognition. But like the Snyder fans were like, "Oh my god, the Atom is gonna be so big in this movie." And I'm like, what? Like, just because it was the Asian guy from the
Yeah.
laboratory, and they're like, "Oh my god." And then even the dark side voice guy, like they hyped him up so much. And like it was just like, damn. I was like, I'm glad these guys are getting at least some attention, because they probably never get any attention, period. But at the same time, like, yeah, it was a little much at times. But anyways, so we know this is being written by a Lovecraft writer, correct? This Black
Yes.
Canary movie.
The same person who did the Lovecraft Country HBO show
Mm-hmm.
is making this script. This isn't a series, it's actually a movie, original with
Yeah,
HBO Max, just like Jaime Reyes, just like
Batgirl.
Batgirl. I am not necessarily too hung up on the whole like, oh, it needs to be in theaters thing anymore. Just like I've talked to a lot of people, and I was kind of being a hypocrite before when I was kind of
Mm-hmm.
angry. I just don't just recently, Bob Chapek, the guy who is the head of Disney right now, he
Mm-hmm.
called Shang-Chi an experiment. And I was just
Oh
like,
wow.
really poor choice of words.
Mm-hmm.
And in the same light, Hamada called these movies, quote unquote, riskier than your average movie. And they're all people of color. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Weird
just,
coming from Hamada as a person who is not white.
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Not the greatest choice of words.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that when these movies finally come out, they're going to be under a new helm. It's going to be Discovery, and that guy, I can't even remember the guy's name anymore. But it's going to be Discovery has a app that
Mm-hmm.
is in a lot more countries than HBO Max is right now. So I know that Discovery will do whatever they can to get the HBO content out to more countries, out to more eyes, meaning that eventually these movies, just like Black Canary, will probably have a bigger reach than theaters would have.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it right now because we have the Discord, and people in the Discord will talk about COVID and all that jazz. And unfortunately, my grandmother just lost her sister to COVID. And I'm just like, not even gonna risk it, man. Like, there's no point in me going back to the theater for a really long time. Just because even being vaccinated, I'm still not like comfortable being in big areas. Like
Yeah.
people that are going to like these like live events and stuff, I'm like, I'm sorry. Like I don't know. The biggest question will be for me will be next year if Comic Con happens. And then I'm gonna be like, oh, it's like I want to go to Comic Con so bad. Well. But at the same time, I'm like, all right, well, maybe I'll just fucking mask up and I'll be a lot more careful when I go. Who knows? But
Yeah.
as of right now, theaters don't give a shit about. If I really wanted to, like, I have an older sound system here at my house. I could just set it up and be like, you know what? I'll just watch it on a big TV. Like, I honestly have been watching these movies on my iPad. So if anything, I'll just be like, you know what? Fuck it. Let me try to get the best experience possible and do the surround sound or whatever. Because we never use it. It's just there. And but yeah, I don't know. Like that was my biggest thing. I was like, I'm just missing out on the movie experience. But I don't know, man. Since I know I'm not going back to theaters anymore, I don't really care. I'm not going to look at this movie any less than like a Suicide Squad or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of hoping with these movies, when people think they're like, ooh, they're risky, I hope that means that they have a little bit more freedom.
And that's what I really hope. You know, right now this movie only has a scriptwriter,
Yeah.
being Misha Green. We don't even have a director yet. In all honesty, because of how they kind of held her back and made her change her own movie, I think that Kathy Ann should probably get another chance at Black Canary. Now,
I wouldn't agree with that.
no, you don't think so?
No, no, because like as much as they might have held her back or changed the script or whatever on her, she still made the decision to go with that script or whatever. Like I don't know if she had any. I don't know if that was her. She had any input on that at all to go with that particular script, but she also had input. I'm assuming on costume design and all that jazz, and
That is
that was
one
kind of
thing that I
crap.
really hope changes with this movie.
Hmm.
I was talking to some friends of mine about this announcement, and I understand the 80s aesthetic. I
Hmm.
mean, we just got it with both Birds of Prey and with Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
I need Black Canary to have a costume.
yeah.
And it could either be her freaking fishnets, biker jacket, corset,
Hmm.
freaking, costume, or it can be something else that she's had in comics. It really doesn't matter to me as long as it's a costume and I know, okay, that is Black Canary. Cuz the
I
the jumpsuit was
Mhm.
weird. I did
Yeah, I
not
agree.
like it at all. It had like this weird like plastic look to it, and I was
Mhm.
just like, yeah, no, not
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah, I am a stickler for costumes. It's been one of my biggest problems when it comes to Marvel, them never wearing their fucking helmets and just being, like, very different and like, "Oh, still, it sucks that we had to get like a comic book accurate. And I know it was like I haven't even seen the show, but I know it wasn't like real for Vision and Wanda. Like she had her actual classic costume.
Yeah.
I was like, that's kind of dope. But we had this like fucking hot topic version through all of the fucking movies. I'm like, come on, you couldn't have given her something better. But biggest example, which this is what pisses me off. Like you saw the photos to Cowboy Bebop, right?
Yes.
So what gets me mad is not that they changed Faye's costume, right? But that the other two dudes look pretty fucking accurate to the Cowboy Bebop characters. And they changed Faye drastically. Like, I don't mind that they covered her up more or anything like that. That's not my problem. My problem with that Faye design is they gave her fucking black shorts, fucking black tights, and black boots. And the top is yellow. It's like, ooh, the only thing that's yellow on her fucking suit. And they gave her like a maroon dark jacket when
It
they couldn't
doesn't
have given her a.
match at all.
No, it looks fucking awful. And I'm just like, and the thing about it is the set design and everything on Cowboy Bebop looks pretty amazing. And the two guys look kind of like cosplay-y. So I'm just like, because freaking Spike's suit looks kind of just awkward, but it looks cool at the same time. Because I'm like, all right, that looks like the fucking show.
Yeah.
But FaZe looks so different. She's not even wearing a headband, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, why? Like, why? And I understand this whole thing of like oh, she was drawn very sexually and blah, 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 or like that kind of costume doesn't fit on like a lot of body types. I understand all of that. But at the same time, like that was just way too out of left field. Like it doesn't look good. And with when it comes to those kind of characters, those iconic characters, you're just giving people stuff to bitch about if you're going to go that far. Like it doesn't look good. I'm sorry. So I'm hoping that when it comes to Black Canary, I don't care what comic book costume they give her, just give her one from the comic books.
Yeah. And Misha Green said, "We're just at the very beginning of a long journey to the screen, but obviously I couldn't turn down the chance to put the dam in the Black Dam Canary with Journey Smollett whispers. So I'm thinking something like," and she put a whole bunch of emojis. And I
Yeah.
kind of broke it down in the Discord on what I think the emojis mean. She put the emojis of a bird, a microphone, music notes, a karate suit, a tiger, a dragon, women wrestling, and a green heart. I think this was my first guess. Uh, of course, the first four just means canary,
Black Canary, yeah.
Black Canary being a badass. Then the tiger would equal tigress, the dragon being the Black Dragon Society, and the green heart being Green Arrow. Now, I saw a lot of people think, okay, well, instead of Tigress, maybe Bronze Tiger.
Yep.
And instead of the Black Dragon Society, which is also a little bit of a deep cut, it's kind of like Silver Age stuff. Nobody has really used them at all
Mhm.
since probably early 90s. And then instead of the Black Dragon Society for that emoji, people thought of Richard Dragon, who
Mm.
has had a lot of interaction with Black Canary. Early New 52, not really any appearances in like Rebirth or anything recent. And then, of course, again, with the Green Heart being Green Arrow. I don't want to see Green Arrow other than probably like post credit scene or mention in the background.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that because you don't want him to. He'll obviously take away her screen time
Yeah,
or just her like stardom there. Um, but at the same time, I think a good writer can bring in Green Arrow and not have him steal the show.
yeah,
And I think because I feel like a lot of times when people bring in a secondary character, like Batman v Superman, technically that wasn't a Superman sequel, but we all know that everybody talked about Batman all the
yeah,
time in that fucking movie,
yeah,
warehouse scene. And like you shouldn't do that. Like you've always said, like when you bring in secondary characters, they should always uplift the main character.
yeah,
And I think if you limit his screen time, like he just comes in and he's like, "What's up, pretty bird?" Like he saves her one moment and she's like, "Fuck off" or whatever. And it's kind of like that relationship, but he's not like you're not giving him his own scenes, you're not doing all
yeah.
that kind of shit. I think it could work. Because I think Green Arrow needs to be introduced in this
I think
universe.
so. I think so. But again, I don't know if WB is necessarily like hurting for it because we
Mhm.
just had 8 years of a Green Arrow TV show.
We have like 5 Supermen right now and like 4 Batman. So and like 3
I,
Flash.
you're right, but at the same time, with the most recent one being Constantine.
Mhm.
Constantine is in Legends right now. They're
Yeah.
working on Justice League Dark on HBO Max. They're saying what's his name? Matt Ryan is no
Mhm.
longer going to be Constantine anymore.
He's gonna be a new character
He's going to be
on
a
the
brand
show.
new
Yeah,
character
which is
on the
weird.
show, and then I'm sure we're going to see Constantine on Justice League Dark. So
Matt
it's
Ryan should be the Doctor. That would be
I would
weird,
be
but
I would
it'd be
be
cool.
a-okay with that actually.
Yeah.
Um but it's so weird how they do it with some characters and they don't do it with others. When it
Yeah.
comes to like, hey, I think the audience will be confused if there's too many of this character.
Mhm.
Um but I mean, they've been testing the water technically with Superman and I think people are just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, Supergirl's ending and we're getting another Supergirl right away, so, you know, in the movie, so it is what
Yeah.
it is. Is it already over? Or is it still going?
I think
I don't
it's
watch that show anymore.
close to being over.
Okay. But yeah, so that's all the Black Canary stuff. Yeah, I'll be interested to see what comes out in the future. I guess we wouldn't expect to see this until 2023 at the earliest. You know?
Uh, I well, I mean, like Misha Green said, there's gonna be a long journey. They
Yeah.
haven't found a director. They haven't even started production yet. Like, I don't see this happening until either late 2023 or early 2024.
Yeah, they'll probably get because if I'm not what's her name? Misha Green? Is that's
Yeah,
the writer?
that's the
Black
writer. Yeah.
woman, correct?
Yes.
They'll probably go with the black director. I'd be interested to see who they get. Uh Jordan Peele superhero movie. That would be interesting. He's got a lot of because like I feel like you might as well just go social commentary on some of these parts as well.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna see that because it's strong female. You know how fucking incels get with that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But also person of color. Might as well play into that. Do it right. Don't do it like John Ridley. Do it right. Like,
Yeah. Exactly.
But anyways, going on to Black Canary's bestie, Batgirl. You let me know this right before the podcast started. Apparently, it's filming already, or it's going to film in the same
It's
location as some other places.
Yeah, so we got a photo of the directors landing, or at least in a at an airport, and they're
Mhm.
like on our way to Gotham, and we're like, okay, what does that mean? Does that mean production starts? And then we got a second picture of them actually in Glasgow, right where freaking the Flash is filming. So people are already starting to put their tinfoil hats on. Are we going to see Michael Keaton in the Batgirl movie? Like all sorts of stuff here. Um, I am I'm excited to see this already starting. So
Yeah,
that way, like this means we will probably for sure get like maybe one or two snippets of like a like behind the scenes reel in fandom, probably,
yeah,
maybe, hopefully. Uh, and we will probably see this like early 2023.
yeah. This did seem like I want to say that I was like, man, they jumped into production quickly, but this script has been done for years.
Yeah.
So
Who was it? Christina Hodgson,
Hudson,
right?
yeah, she's writ everything. you
Yeah.
know, she's written The Flash, which is currently filming. She did Birds of Prey. She did Bumblebee, which is not DC, but still I feel like nerdy enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's like the hit writer right now. And I'm pretty sure if the Flash and Batgirl do well, she'll write a bunch of more shit.
Which
So,
I'm like, I can go both ways in saying it's good and in bad. Good thing is there's going to be somewhat of continuity
mhm,
with the writer. Like she's probably going to write these in a way of them being fluid and or completely connected.
yeah,
If that's the case, then that's something that we've been wanting,
yeah.
right? With a connected universe, something that solidifies like, hey, where do these movies stand when it comes to each other? So I'm excited about that. The only thing is, what does the ending of Flash do for every other movie?
Yeah, that's true. But if she did write Batgirl and Flash, she could have easily put Batgirl in Flash. So,
Yeah.
that'll be interesting. I mean, I guess it's going to be one of those things where we wait and see. But it is exciting to see. Also, just to throw it out there, the Batman also filmed in Glasgow. So, are they trying to keep a, what do they say it? Oh my god, aesthetically pleasing scenery for the Batman
Aesthetically,
films.
yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see, man. It seems like DC is trying to do a lot, but will they stick the landing? Is the biggest question.
Hopefully they will.
Yeah. So that is the only entertainment news we got, but we do have comic news that is pretty big. We didn't talk about this last week because we were talking about everything else last week, but DC and popular website Webtoons have started a partnership apparently.
Yes. This was very, very interesting. Just because Webtoons within itself has 72 million active users, like almost daily,
Yeah.
apparently.
This is like the
Um,
manga hotspot for new
yeah.
creators.
I didn't realize how like popular this thing was. You know, my wife is a nanny. She watches one small individual that is just now starting school, and His sisters are like just now getting into high school and is like a junior or sophomore in high school.
Mhm.
Those two, they were like, "Hey Clay, like what kind of manga are you into? Like what are and I told them and they're like, "Oh, I like this." And I was like, "I've never heard of that before." And they're like, "Oh, it's on this website." And like they pulled out their phone and they showed me webtoons.
Mhm.
We are used to this kind of format of being a vertical format of reading
Yeah.
because of the review copies of books that we get, and we're very greatly appreciated with DC for letting us get those. I am not entirely sure how this is going to do. Like, this is going to do very well for the brand of DC. It's going to do well
Yes.
for the characters. I don't know how it's going to do, if anything, just like how I said with Substack, how it's going to do for the actual market of comics.
Yeah, I think this is a brand recognition thing, to be honest, just to get more people into DC. But if DC was smart, which we constantly question their ideas sometimes, this should be a proving ground for new artists. We're seeing a lot of new artists and writers, to be honest. We're seeing a lot of new writers go to that Sub Pop or whatever it's called, Substack. They're leaving DC and Marvel, and they're going to start doing their own things. Which me and Clay have already talked about that. I don't really know if it's going to be successful in the long run after some new information that has come out. But I think this is where you start making the next generation of writers and artists. Honestly, you give them like, hey, webtoons. You're going to be paired with this artist. You're going to write it, and we want 8 pages of X character, whatever character.
So So this is what it says here in the variety article. It says webtoons comics typically comprise 50 to 60 episodes per season, and each episode normally is 50 to 70 panels presented in a vertical format. The app's standard release model provides 1, 2, and 3 free episodes, with 3 through 5 paid episodes behind a paywall available for about 50 cents each,
That's not
with
bad.
more free content released on a weekly basis.
That's not bad.
It's essentially the Shonen Jump app. Shonen Jump is a $1.99 per month,
Hmm.
and it gives you the first 3 chapters free for every manga, and then everything else, of course, is behind that 199 paywall. Sounds like this is essentially the same thing. Honestly, once they, because I'm sure they will announce like our very first webtoons comic
Batman.
for Batman. I'm sure it's going to be
Hmm.
Batman. It's
Yeah.
it's got to be, unfortunately. I think once they announce it, I might jump on it. I might
Yeah.
see how it is. I will read the first 3 episodes because they call them episodes here.
Hmm.
If it's efficient enough, why not? It's only, I don't know. It says 50 cents each, so it's gonna be $1.50 with the kind of apps that you use in iOS. They do have to take a chunk of that, so it's gonna be a little bit
Yeah.
more. I can see it being another $1.99. So
Yeah.
I don't see a problem in it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see because a lot of webtoons I feel like is more art geared towards manga and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what DC does here. But I think this is also one of those platforms where you can do more experimental and crazy stuff. Let's do Batman versus Goku. You know what I mean? We'll do that fucking fight. Get obliterated. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think it'll be very interesting to see where this goes, or will it just be, DC Universe app or whatever in a year or two, where it's just kind of like dead. So,
We'll
well,
see. It's very interested. I'm very interested to see what routes DC will take to try to keep up with the latest trends and the latest readership. Like I don't see them really doing a lot right now,
yeah.
and I don't necessarily think it's DC's fault. Like
Mhm.
I'm not entirely sure who's in charge of their marketing or
Yeah,
if
honestly, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like, why does DC and Marvel not have like a daily video dropping on TikTok every single day? Doesn't
I
even
don't know.
matter what it is.
For the amount of like comic book kind of content that I follow on everything, I'm really surprised that I haven't really seen Marvel Entertainment or DC Comics on TikTok.
Yeah. And I think they just don't understand it, but like I make a killing with those freaking Batman videos I dropped. Like those are like some of my biggest videos lately, and I'm still getting comments every day about how Superman would be Batman. I'm like, "Oh my god." Like same. Like it's the same old stuff. But it's very interesting, and I don't understand why they wouldn't drop like, like those Watch Mojo style top 10s and stuff. Like they should just be dropping those kind of things. And like at the end of it, throw in a little ad or something. You know what I mean? Like if you want to see this, go check out Webtoons, blah blah blah. Um, but yeah, I don't know who's working at DC's marketing department. I feel
So
like I kind of
I searched DC Comics in
uh
TikTok. There is DC underscore dot comics with 8,000 uh followers. Then
I
there's a
surpassed that.
then there's official DC Comics with 702 followers. And then there's DC Comics official with 253 followers. Now, the two freaking profiles that say official, which clearly they're not,
Hmm.
have zero videos.
Yeah, it's dumb. I don't know, man. I feel like I should just for shits and giggles just email DC and be like, hey, marketing department, do you guys need somebody to do shit?
I mean, seriously though,
Because like I can be like, these are my videos, and look at what you're not engaging on fucking TikTok. Like, what are you doing? Because they try to do a lot on Instagram, and Instagram's dying. Like people need to realize that.
Marvel has both Marvel and Marvel Studios both verified on TikTok.
Do they drop stuff or no?
Marvel verified has uh 1.3 million
Oof.
followers, and they have, oh, they don't have a whole lot of videos. I think you have more videos than them.
Womp womp.
Yeah.
Come on, DC, you got to get on that. We've always talked about their marketing department being terrible, though. Like they don't do good marketing for their shows or anything. Honestly, like if I wasn't covering this podcast, I wouldn't have even known Titans was on.
Marvel Studios. So there is Marvel and then Marvel Studios. Marvel Studios only has 4 videos.
Womp womp. Like, see, they just you need to hire people in these positions, y'all. Like, specifically for TikTok. You're the TikTok guy. You come up with TikTok videos. That's all you fucking do. Like, that's what you need to do. And it's not that hard. Like, I don't know. I do this stuff daily for myself. But if DC was like, hey, would you want to do DC videos for us for our TikTok? I'd easily do that and just do my shit on the side. Like, I don't know why that they don't do that. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the biggest news probably of the week, which
Probably, yeah.
is the Batman new writer. And we're actually going to be covering this writer's book today, which is Robin. And Joshua Williamson is going to be the new writer for Batman going forward. Now, I'm kind of confused by this because I thought Jimenez said he was going to be on Batman going
That's
forward.
what I was telling people when he made the announcement. So, well, when this announcement came out with Williamson,
Hmm.
because Williamson said that he was getting a completely different artist, which I am not entirely familiar with. So, when I was looking here, let's see here, the artist that he is teaming up with
Yeah,
is
I have.
Jorge Molina.
I don't know
Molina.
this. I don't know this artist.
I think it's Molina. Jorge
Never
Molina.
seen
I
him.
will say I kind of dig the first cover of this Batman 118, but the only thing that I don't really like is like Batman's forehead looks like it's about to fall out of his fucking, like,
Yeah,
I don't know if its brain is about to fall out of his skull or what. He has a
yeah,
huge forehead. But
yeah.
like I dig the Batman Incorporated freaking costume that they're bringing back, you know?
Yeah, it's okay. It's not my favorite. I don't know why they're bringing that back. They are going back to black Batman with the suit. Now that we got a new writer, does this kill Black Batman?
I don't think it kills Black Batman because here is the thing that I keep saying, and I'm going to continue to say it because genuinely think DC is leaving money on the table with their DC Universe app.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that subscription services need in order to sell is new content.
Yeah.
Old content is old. Some people may not like have read it, such as in Marvel Unlimited and DC Universe. There's plenty of comics that you can go out and read.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have anything new that's going to interest people to stay, they're not going to keep it.
Yeah.
They need to move their future state type of stories into DC Universe and have its own universe.
Yeah, I could see that. Or continue Dead World or whatever the fuck it was called and
They
all that
they
shit.
need to either do that or the next time they think, "Hey, we need to
Yeah.
reboot from the start on their DC Universe app."
Yeah. Yeah, you got to have something to give people for sure. But anyways, going back to Joshua Williamson, thoughts on this? Well, how do you feel about this?
I'm not surprised. Williamson has been a much bigger dog at DC ever since he jumped off of Flash, which
Mhm.
is interesting because Flash was probably starting to get like into like hot garbage territory around issue 50, which was like the climax of one of his biggest stories when he started Rebirth. But he kept going all the way until like basically 100 issues
Mhm. He
of
did the
his
Tom King
Flash run.
route.
He did the Tom King route, but they actually let him stay for all 100.
Yeah.
He dipped, and then that's when he started to get into, because around that time was like freaking death metal, and like they were starting to do like their new Infinite Frontier thing. Now he's on Infinite Frontier, the miniseries. He is on Robin, like we said. He is writing another miniseries that is going to basically like straight from Infinite Frontier. He's jumping onto another miniseries. Like he is somebody that DC is relying on a lot.
Yeah.
I am digging Robin right now. I'm enjoying it. The only problem is the more workload you give somebody, one
Mhm.
of these other books is going to falter.
Yeah.
Are you willing to give somebody that already has a huge workload your biggest property?
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be my biggest thing I'm worried about cuz we saw Tynan was going pretty crazy with all the stuff he was writing and I've not been a fan of his run from the start. I There were things that Williamson was doing in the Flash that I did enjoy, but you would tell me about it and you're like, it's hot garbage now. And so I'm kind of worried about that. I have not been a big fan of the Robin series lately, although I did enjoy this last issue. Now, when we do cover that issue, you mentioned a theory to me that I do want to talk about of how you think it's might end. So because I have some thoughts on that. But from the most part, we do see him talking that he is getting a new artist. He's already introducing a new villain right at the start, and I'm just like, why do we have to do this? Why does there have to be a brand new villain at the start of series? Like, thank you for not being the Joker. Like, thank you for that. But like, this person, I told Clay, they are called Abyss. They look to me like a Wish version of Phantasm.
He looks like the Reaper,
Yeah,
which is like, wasn't the Reaper like a character that was
he
basically
was in
like
Batman Year Two.
but wasn't he something that Phantasm was basically like a spin-off of?
That I don't know.
Okay.
Because like Reaper was like was a father to a girl he was dating,
Yeah.
and he was going around killing people.
And they
And
played a little bit on that with Tomasi's run of Detective.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So
He
yeah, so
even
yes,
has a scythe. Like he
yeah,
has a little.
exactly. Which is what Phantasm has. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a Wish version of Phantasm. So yeah, he's gonna be bringing in this new character, and we're gonna see what happens. Like, I don't know. I am interested. He also said that there's a lot of big announcements coming as we get closer to his run starting. But he said, but for now, a tease, and he had Batman and Robin drinking coffee together. So, are we gonna finally get a solid Batman and Robin that aren't fighting all the time? Or is he gonna keep doing that? I mean, we'll see what happens. It does seem like he's leaning more into like a close knit family in this latest Robin book, so that seems pretty interesting. But are you still going to be a dick and keep away Catwoman? That's what I want to know.
She is a part of the Bat family. So if you are going to have a close knit Bat family, you need to bring in Catwoman. I think that like
But
it's
will DC let him? That's the thing, apparently.
I think it's very stupid to like even if you didn't give Tom King the wedding that he supposedly wanted,
Hmm.
but still let him say, "Oh, we're technically married because we've been together for so long."
Yeah,
Like they still technically let them get married,
yeah.
you know? So you can't you can't just ignore that. I mean, you
Tynan
could,
did.
you can, right? You can ignore it, but the fact that you let him do it and then you made all continuity. So it's still
Hmm.
continuity.
Yeah,
So like no matter what you try to avoid, you're still making it something that has happened in this universe.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't know, man. I hope he brings in Catwoman because he's really good friends with Tom King. I don't think Tynan and Tom King are friends, like are like good friends. I literally, while I was waiting in line to talk to Tom King at Comic Con, Joshua Williamson was there and they were joking around. And he was like, "Oh, sorry, it's Joshua Williamson." And I was like, "Oh, what's up, man?" And he was like, he writes the Flash and stuff. And then we were like chatting about like I was asking about like Mr. Miracle or some shit like that. And yeah, so they're really good friends. So I'm kind of hoping Williamson is like, I like what Tom was doing. I'm going to go with a lot of that. And hopefully just kind of ignores everything Tynan did. Because, we'll see where all of that goes. But for now, I'm excited to get a new writer. If he continues doing more of what he did in Robin 50, I'll be down. But also, he also has a track record of not being so great at times. So we'll see what he gets. Again, my biggest thing is I think there are people out there that just cannot write Batman. So we're about to find out if he's one of those people or not. But for the most part, it is what it is. But now let's talk about fucking Titans before we dive into comic books. Okay, this is episode 5 of Titans. I had to we had to just start the podcast because I was already getting heated talking to Clay about this fucking episode. I texted Clay earlier and I said this on last week's podcast, I cannot wait or I want Jason Todd to die. I hate this character. I
yeah.
want him gone. And this was just like, if you hate Jason Todd, like as the actor slash character in this series, not as the Red Hood overall, this was a fucking edge lord fucking Jason Todd in this episode. And I was just like, die. Just I hate you. Like, oh my god, I hate you. And yeah, I don't even know what was I getting all crazy about. Like I was gonna jump on some tangent, but like
Well, this whole episode, of course, is a flashback. It says 3 months earlier, right?
mhm,
And you start to see like, okay, what kind of headspace was Jason in? And
mhm.
we see the fact that like Bruce is like, hey, you can't be Robin until you go to therapy
Yeah.
or counseling. And they bring Leslie Tompkins
Mhm.
into the show.
Yeah.
And like again, this whole stupid freaking dark edge lord Jason kills every fucking vibe. Like you're
Yeah.
bringing in a new character into the show. Okay, an established character. Cool. Batman freaking Bruce Wayne says, "Hey, she knows who we are, so you can say anything. It's a safe space."
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Just just write me a prescription to the get the fucking pill and let me leave." And she's like, "You need pills?" He's like, "Well, isn't that what you do? You just give me the pill and I just keep coming back." She's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "That's what every other therapist has ever done for me."
Yeah.
"Did you even take any pills?" "No. The foster care took them all away from me." I'm like, "What?"
I
And
like,
like and
yeah.
I understand what they're trying to make it out to be. They're
He's trying
trying
to
to
be the
make it out.
angsty teen.
Well, they're trying to make it an angsty teen thing, but they're also trying to make it out to be like, hey, every single foster care that he was a part of was just like a
Shit.
was just shit. Yeah, they would steal his drugs and do it themselves and shit. I don't see the appeal that people are seeing in this Red Hood
I
at
don't
all.
either. I hate him. My thing is I see what they were trying to do with the character. Like they want you to feel like he's just a troubled kid and he needs help, but he's never had that help in his whole life. And when he feels like he has something good, and if he thinks somebody's giving up on him or doesn't treat him equally, he like goes off. He goes off his emotions, which is funny because that happens in the Robin book we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
So like yes, Red Hood is a very an emotional character. But this this actor just is not intimidating. Like
No.
he's not. He has this one scene where he's supposed to stare down this older guy or whatever. And the guy's like, "You haven't like done enough time to look at me like that." And he's like still looking at him, and then that girl says something or whatever, and then he
This
gets like,
guy is Robin.
"Yeah,
He has had personal training from Batman,
yeah,
and he got his ass whooped by just some thug.
yeah."
I
And
don't understand that.
to play devil's advocate there, I think an argument to that is like he's suffering from the PTSD, so he's not 100%. But I feel like he's just killing people like hardcore and stuff. Like I feel like he'd have more PTSD from dying than fucking going through what
Yeah,
he's gone
and
through.
okay, so that's another thing. So this episode is titled Lazarus.
Yeah,
Of course. So we had the theory, oh, maybe he didn't actually die.
yeah,
Maybe it was all just a setup from fucking Scarecrow. No, he fucking died.
hmm,
And apparently, Scarecrow knew about this Lazarus pit and nobody else did underneath Arkham.
yeah,
Bullshit. Sorry, that's number one right there. But we all know what happens to people who use the Lazarus pits.
hmm.
They don't come back 100%. And yeah, you can kind of say, oh, that's why fucking Jason Todd's the Red Hood. No, he's the Red Hood because fucking Scarecrow made him the Red Hood.
Yeah, so this episode exposed so many plot holes. First of all, is this show being written for comic book fans or fucking not? Because if you don't know about Ra's al Ghul, you don't understand the fucking Lazarus Pit. And they just throw his name out there. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
Ra's al Ghul. Like, okay, are you expecting us to have seen all the fucking CW shows and all that shit with all of, and Gotham with Ra's al Ghul? Like, are you thinking we're all the same crowd? So that doesn't make sense. Like, everybody's like, if you've never seen comic books or read comic books or watched any other comic book show and you watch this episode of Titans, you don't know who the fuck the freaking Ra's al Ghul is, and you don't know what the fuck the Lazarus Pit is. And he's over here just like, oh, this is under the thing. So I'm like, okay, you have to be a comic fan to fucking understand that. Secondly, are we just gonna gloss over the plot hole of Bruce burying Jason Todd? Like, they say that they switched the bodies in fucking in Arkham, right? Like they, or not in Arkham, but whatever. They switched the bodies, and that's maybe there was no body in the casket when Dick dug him up. So even if they switched the bodies, that makes no sense
Yeah.
because there would have been a body down there. Secondly, we in this episode saw how bad his face got crushed in. He was basically Two-Face. You could tell that was Jason Todd.
Yeah.
So there's no way that they could have put a fake body. Again, there was no body there when he dug him up. So like, did Bruce bury anybody? Like, What the fuck kind of plot hole shit is that? Makes no sense. I hate to say this, but I don't know if you saw the writer credit on this.
No, I didn't.
It was Brian Edward Hill.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, not that great when it comes to some of these Titans episodes. I think he's written some of the Titans episodes that I dislike the most.
I think
Um,
we said that last time.
yeah. So, but he also did recently write Ra's al Ghul in a comic
Yeah.
series. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, so there's that huge ass plot hole. Obviously, also, I should say, again, going back to, is this being written for fucking comic fans or not? Because if you have not written the comics, you don't know the fucking shit about the Red Hood. You don't understand why the Red Hood's so important, why he is
See,
so
and
big.
that's another fucking plot hole. So I understood, okay, you're gonna make a Red Hood story, but this whole plot revolves around him being mad at the Titans. So you need to revolve it around the Titans. No, they are taking the Red Hood story, having him angry at Batman. That is the whole reason, just like in the comic. But the only the major difference, and I think is a very stupid change, is that his motivations are provoked by Scarecrow.
Yeah. And this happy gas, which we already know they're gonna be like, oh, you were gassed the whole time, so you can definitely come back to the Titans.
It's so stupid. It
Yeah.
is so stupid. This whole thing with him, oh, well, write down your formula. Like, and that's another bullshit thing. Oh, you told him everything? Jason telling him everything?
Yeah.
Fucking Scarecrow figured it out just with a vial of fucking fear gas.
Yeah.
He just looked
100%.
at he looked at the fear gas. He's like, "Oh, that's from a collector. Oh, the collector being Batman. Oh, you must know Batman. Oh, wait, you are the son of Bruce Wayne. Okay, Bruce Wayne is Batman and you're Robin."
Yeah.
Like he connected the dots with nothing being said, and I'm like, that is fucking stupid.
Yeah. Also, um, I thought it was extremely fucking stupid that Leslie Tompkins had a picture of Scarecrow in her fucking office after he tried to murder her. I know women who have been through trauma, and the moment or just any mention of their fucking what do they call him, predator or whatever, the
Yeah.
person that victimizes them, they break down, and like they would not keep anything that reminds them of them, that has their face in it, they, because it just emotionally destroys them. And she just, oh, we used to be friends, so I have his photo, he used to be a brilliant man before he tried to kill me. Like, I understand you're a psychiatrist, but you're really just gonna have a criminal in your fucking office? Like, that doesn't show any sign of professionalism. I'm like, you hang out with these motherfuckers? Like, no, I'm sorry. I'm getting the fuck out of here. Give me my refund. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, this is fucking shit writing. I'm so sorry. You could have had him go out. Like, you could have had Jason Todd do a session because he does multiple sessions, and she could have, like, hinted at maybe that, or she's been like, I've had bad friends too, because he's having a problem with Bruce a little bit, right? So
Yeah.
she's been like, I know people, I've had people that I've trusted and they've betrayed me as well. And boom, he could have been like, let me look into Leslie Tompkins, and he looks into it, and then he finds out that she used to work with Scarecrow. Bada bing, bada boom. That's a better way than like, oh, here's a photo. Like, the photo thing is such a fucking lazy piece of writing.
And then, like after that meeting with Tompkins, he goes, and that's when he's looking at freaking the Scarecrow vial
Yeah.
of fear gas, and
A lot of Easter eggs. That
the
fucking
Catwoman,
yes, Catwoman, but the puppet,
Scarface.
Scarface looked amazing. That
Yeah,
looked awesome.
Scarface looked great, but like
Scarecrow's outfit kind of trash.
so earlier in the episode, we see freaking Jason is having a nightmare, and Bruce wakes him up. And Bruce is like, "Hey, are you okay?" And he's like, "You shouldn't ask people if they're okay. You're not good at it." He walks away.
Yeah.
And then here in the Batcave, Batman starts talking, or Bruce Wayne starts talking. He's like, "Hey, you shouldn't sneak up on people because that's just not okay." I'm
Yeah.
just like, you live with fucking Batman.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
I This writing is so stupid. So stupid. And then there's this like they talk and they're like, "Oh, did Leslie tell you about that?" "No, she didn't tell me anything. There's anonymity, blah blah blah." And then like freaking Bruce says like something and he goes and he ends that sentence with "son." And
Yeah.
like Jason is like
Daddy. Yeah, like
"Son?" Like stop. Jesus Christ.
yeah, and he
I
gets all pissed because, Bruce takes him to Crime Alley, and he's like, "Oh, this is where your parents died," and he's like, "Yeah, I've made a lot of mistakes, and I don't want
The
you to be robbing
monologue
anymore."
from Bruce was really good. I
Yeah,
enjoyed the monologue, but then the fucking edge lord vibe killed everything. It's
yeah,
just like,
ugh,
why?
yes.
Like, and
He's
I
so dumb.
don't get me wrong. The whole point of Jason's character is that he feels that he is not treated with the right amount of respect or whatever you want to throw into that bucket. I
Yeah,
understand it. But to have that, and again, the writing is the way it is just to be that. Like
yeah.
there is no connective tissue on why it should be that way at all.
The the problem I had with that scene, though, is that he's either a really good actor or the writing is that bad, but like he did the stupid thing people do on the internet where they hear what they want out of a fucking sentence and not what it actually goes for. Because Bruce says, I have learned from my mistakes, meaning I treated Dick wrong. I don't want you to be that.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'm a mistake. Like, did you listen to what he fucking said? He said he learned from his mistakes so you wouldn't be that. Like, that's what he's fucking saying, but you can focus on that one fucking word. Now, I get it. Kids do that. Like, and people do that. I know adults that do
Yes.
that. So I'm
Yeah.
not going to harp on that too much. But, like, I already hate him so much that seeing that, I'm so much more annoyed. And let's go back to Tompkins real quick. Like, they made the joke about like, oh, she's hot. Like, did y'all? And he's like, oh, we're changing the subject. So Batman banged Tompkins apparently. But
Yeah.
can we just point out that Tompkins is supposed to be Batman Senior? Because
Yes.
the reason why she knows his identity is because in the comics, she was there when his parents were killed. She was a young psychiatrist back then.
Yeah.
And he's known her his whole life. And so they reversed it this time around because Batman's fucking old, so they can't have an older Tompkins because that's just gonna be weird. And so, like, I just thought that was kind of dumb. Like, why does look? I'm totally cool with Batman fucking all the time. Like, I'm totally cool with it. He doesn't need to fuck everybody though. Like, come on. Like, who's next? You know what I mean? Like, come on. You can keep it a Catwoman. You want to throw Harley in there. You want to throw those kind of people in there. That's totally fine. But Tompkins, like, come on. The writing is so bad, and also this should have been episode like 8 or 9. Like this reveal should have not happened at episode 5. Like this whole backstory.
Again, like this is why this is why I have the feeling that this whole Red Hood thing is going to be fixed fairly quickly
Yeah,
because we got the reveal in 2. We got the the reveal of Red Hood in 2. We got the reveal of Scarecrow being the big bad in 4, and in 5 we get the backstory. Like it's like boom 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 and end scene. And it's just like what the fuck?
yeah. I don't get it, man. The Scarecrow sucks too. I'm so annoyed by him already.
Well, yeah, and I told you before we started recording, I'm tired of this whole pothead thing. Like
Mhm.
again, we get it. Guess what? In majority of the United States now, weed is legal. It's not a cool it's like, "Oh, look, I'm so cool because I
Yeah,
smoke weed."
yeah.
Like,
Weed is not a personality trait, and like those people that constantly talk about weed or drinking all the time, you're the most insufferable people to be around. I'm sorry, like that is your personality, and it's annoying as fuck.
yeah. Yeah.
Like, if you can't
Super
talk
annoying.
about anything else, like anything else, you can't talk about politics, you can't talk about
You got
food,
a light?
like,
Oh, well, if you don't have a light, then leave. You're no
yeah.
use to me.
So, like, seeing that in a character, like, look, okay, if you would have started off with that, fine, cool. But 5 episodes in, you're still so about this whole weed life. I'm just like, oh my God, I fucking hate it. Like, I don't know. Scarecrow, he's not cool. Like, how do you fuck up Scarecrow? You know what's sad? You know what's sad? You want to know what's sad, Clay? I think Gotham did a better Scarecrow. I can't believe I said that. I think Gotham did a better Scarecrow. And
Titans has broken
oh my
juice.
god, I can't believe it. You want to know why? Scarecrow. Granted, Gotham was so bad that at one point Scarecrow he ran away. He ran away. We never saw him again, and he was magically back in Arkham. We never found out how he got to Arkham. That's how bad Gotham's writing was. Like,
Nice.
he just disappeared and he was in Arkham and had a new suit. And I was just like, what happened here? And like, I don't know, man. Like, but he looked cooler and he did fear shit in Gotham. Whereas in this one, they're trying to be like, oh, fear is a powerful thing. He's not even using gas or anything.
Like he there are moments where he's like, okay, that is a Scarecrow line.
Yeah.
But then, like, this again, this whole fucking show is ruined by Jason and
Mhm.
ruined by Red Hood because he's like, I need to not be afraid anymore. And it's like, okay, well, we need the opposite of fear. I'm like, oh, laughing gas? You should be going to the Joker, kid. But he's fucking dead. So they are making this like fucking serum or whatever. And that whole montage of Jason being like, "Oh,
That
I'm
song
just
was
gonna keep
awful.
testing these fucking drugs on me." And like he
Yeah.
starts to cough, he starts to like cough like shit up, and then he starts puking, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna keep doing it." I'm like, I understand this is a mature show. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
I understand that hopefully the people that are watching this show aren't that stupid to be like, "Oh, it's safe to just expose yourself to random chemicals." But
In
Jesus Christ.
in current society, we have people taking horse pills and shit right now to fight COVID. So I would not put it past people to try this on their own. So just saying, we have people that are very not intelligent that do things. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, this show is just, it's insufferable. How many more episodes do we have?
This is episode 5.
Are we getting
There's
13 or 10?
I think it's 13. The same day that the finale drops for this is the first episodes of Young Justice.
Oh,
So
finally
it's gonna
something good.
be October.
Oh, yeah. Well, 1 month.
Yeah.
We're almost out of August. So, well, is it the end of October? I'm assuming it has to be,
I
right?
think it's October 22nd.
Okay, so the end of October. So yeah, about 7 more weeks. So that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny because I feel like people are gonna be like, "Oh, typical Jews hating on a show," but I'm like, guys, this is not good. Like, honestly, it's just not a good show. It's not written well. And if you're a
No,
fan of
it's
Red Hood, you should
October
be pissed.
21st. So it's gonna because it's gonna be on a Thursday again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Um, yeah, you should be pissed if you're a fan of Red Hood because they're fucking destroying your boy. They're not giving him a good job. This actor should have never been Red Hood. He should have just stayed Robin. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, that's kind of all I have on this episode. I don't know if you got anything else to add.
not really. Um I think what the episode well there's this like new character, a new-ish character, not really important to anything Batman related or Titans related, but
Hmm.
Jason has this friend Molly and she's like looking for her like cousin or whatever, this Diego kid.
Oh, he's just a
And
kid from the foster area because
yeah,
he doesn't even know her at the end.
well yeah, and so he saves him and he's like, hey, so and like his fucking Red Hood voice, the fucking voice changer or whatever, like,
Hmm.
hey, I know this looks fucking weird, but just know that, I'm gonna make this city better. And I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care whatsoever. If you have, like, because again, the reason why they're showing you this is to show that he still has a little bit of him in him.
Yeah.
But the problem is, it's again this whole fucking thing that you hate with Batman,
Hmm.
right? And what people hated with the whole Arrow storyline of like, oh, the only reason why I killed is because I liked it. Like that whole line from fucking Arrow.
Yeah.
Like it's the same thing here. They're trying to show that, like, oh, he's doing this on purpose because people just didn't treat him right. And all they have to do is just love him like a brother or love him like a son and treat him equally, and everything would probably just have been just fine. I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
I already want a new villain. I want to move on. And unfortunately, I don't see, like, because another thing is fucking Jason is hallucinating fucking Donna for some reason. Like,
Yeah, that was so out of place. Like, what the fuck? Hold
like,
on, Jason, you have so much more time to live.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh my
I,
god, that was
I
dumb.
guess they're trying to just like, hey, remember this character?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, stupid, so stupid.
She's probably
I,
coming back next show, knowing
yeah,
them.
I wouldn't I would probably expect her to be back within the next 2 episodes.
Yeah. That was so weird. Like, she's in this black fucking dress and she's like, "Jason, hold on. You have more time to live." Like, I didn't need to see her face because the moment I saw her, I instantly saw the way she died again, which is one of the worst deaths in history. And like, I just can't. Oh my god! And I don't mean worse in like gruesome. I mean worse as in just terribly acted. Yeah,
And
like
horribly written.
yeah, so bad, dude, so bad. Who would have thought a fucking an Amazonian couldn't fucking survive some electrical shock? Like,
Especially
Jesus.
with a fucking Superman clone right next to her.
Yeah, I don't fucking yeah. It's God. It's just so comic books, right? There's these things called comic books. We can talk about those now. So we only have 3 books this week that we're covering. And well, actually, we're not even covering 3, we're covering 2. But the third Batman book that did come out this week is Batman Reptile. I don't know anybody that's reading this personally. And this was a Joker book. And the reason why me and Clay don't cover this is one, the first issue wasn't great. And the art is very like it just turns me off personally. I don't think it adds to the story because sometimes art can actually carry a book. But the way this was written and the way the art is, like the Joker is in this story, I just didn't care. I thought at the end of this they actually introduced the reptile character, which is Killer Croc. But I just looked and it's actually previews for the next issue. So 3 issues in, they still have not introduced fucking Killer Croc, who is apparently the reptile.
So we're not going to talk about it this week because the book is next week, but just settle in for this art because you're going to be getting it a lot for your favorite book.
Is this the same guy?
Liam Sharp.
This is
Yes,
the
it
same
is.
dude?
Yes, it is.
The art's so drastically different, though.
He changes his art styles for a lot of different writers. It's so weird the way he's like a chameleon when it comes to his art. It's really, really weird.
Wow. Okay, Liam Sharp, I have a bone to pick with you because I read that fucking book. I can't say anything this week because it's a week early, but holy fucking shit, do I have a bone to pick with you when it comes to that book.
Well,
I
more
can't.
next week.
Yeah, I'm a little bit mad at Clayman. We'll get into it next week, but I couldn't believe that. I was so shocked. But anyways, we're not reading this book because is he writing this book too? Or is he just drawing?
No, Garth Ennis is
Oh,
writing
that's the one that
Batman
knows
Ripped
you,
Wind.
or Liam Sharp knows you, like from your reviews. Is this the same guy, or is that a different guy?
No. That's Matthew Rosenberg. That's
Oh,
completely
okay.
different. Yeah, no.
Okay.
Garth Ennis actually has been to the comic shop here in town several times.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Okay. Before we move on to Robin, I got to mention something, Clay. So this is funny. I was perusing the Reddits, and the
Oh
Reddits
no.
have they got some spicy content on there, right? They got some spicy content every once in a while, depending on where you're looking. And I came across some spicy Batman content with Harley Quinn. And it got very spicy. But the thing I want to talk about by this, one, the art was pretty good. And two, it was actually written pretty decently. I was shocked. I was shocked. Because check this out, right? I don't know if you've ever jumped in and like read a parody manga that's spicy. I don't know if you've ever done that. but usually the writing's fucking awful. Like it's they'll say something and they'll jump
It's
into the
it can
stuff people want to see, you know?
it's a little yeah, it's a little rough for
Yeah.
sure.
So I'm reading this spicy Harley Quinn Batman book, and Harley Quinn like genuinely had a plan to capture Batman, and it like was thought out in ways. And I was just like, huh. And like it had her like mannerisms and stuff too. And I was just like, they actually thought about this writing opposed to just drawing the spicy stuff. And I appreciated it so
It's
much.
about the story.
Yeah. I was like, the story is good with the spicy? Like, what?
No, it's just I've seen so many like fucking hentai memes that it's like
Mhm.
it's about the fucking
Yeah.
story.
No. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm telling you right now, I'm there for the spicy. I was surprised by the story. Like, I was just, and the thing is, of course, it had to be Batman and Harley Quinn. I was like, why couldn't this art and everything and a story along these lines could have been Batman Catwoman? And you could have given me what we're not getting ever in the comic books.
That
And
is
I was just
great.
like, wow. But yeah, I was just surprised that I enjoyed a spicy bit of that more than some of the Batman stuff we're getting today. Like, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, that's the thing. Feel free to look it up on Reddit, kids. Not kids, adults. But you know what I mean. But then again, if you are a kid like I was, you don't listen to adults. So it is what it is. But anyways, moving on to the next Batman writer's book. Josh Williamson has done. He's been writing Robin. This is issue 5, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
I have not been a fan of this book just because I felt like it's a little like trying to be too much anime, but I didn't get that vibe with this particular issue, and it felt like a comic book again. I don't know if that, if that resonates with you at all, but I didn't really get the anime vibe on this issue particularly.
Not this one in particular. I think it because this was going back to again, we kind of took a detour to uh from like the main story here that
Yeah.
we were dealing with before was of course the whole tournament thing. And yes, we kind of get like dipped in the beginning and the end for it, for the start of this whole tournament.
Yeah.
But the whole point of this was to put the Bat family together for one issue. I don't mind it too much, I genuinely didn't mind it too much just because of the fact that like we get to see some interactions with these characters that we haven't had for quite some time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
For
and
sure.
some of it was pretty funny, like the whole thing with the Red Hood, um, kind of playing on the fact that he is kind of like an edge lord, freaking uh
Emotional
like
guy.
emotional guy, and then freaking Robin kind of playing on that.
Mhm.
I did enjoy that.
Yeah, he had like good conversations with each Bat family member, which seemed pretty cool. And yeah, it was a bunch of it was kind of cheesy where they're like rooftop race cuz essentially they're like you should come home with us. Like we hear that, something's going on and we don't want you to get hurt or Batman doesn't want you to get hurt essentially. And what ends up happening and he's like, "You know what? I'll go back with you guys if you can catch me." And so what ends up happening is they're like rooftop race and they're all trying to catch Damien, but of course he's able to like juke all of them. And well, not so much Dick Grayson, but Grayson is the first one that they show trying to catch him and he ends up cutting his wire. And then we see like oh no, actually it's the second to last. Well, anyways, he jukes out everybody and it does end with him being held at gunpoint by Jason Todd. And Jason Todd's all like, I'll shoot you, kid, essentially. Like, if you need to come back with us. And that's when Robin is saying, like, you know what? Tim's the smartest. I forget what he said about Grayson. Grayson is the most experienced. Spoiler is the bravest. And you're the most emotional. And he gives him a hug. And then that's how he fucking beats him. Cause, like, he was like, huh? And he gets,
Now,
like, all
I
shocked.
did kind of laugh at the fact that like they he brought up the relationship between Tim and Stephanie,
Mhm.
but
Oh,
like
yeah.
they still haven't acknowledged the fact that Tim is bi right now, and I'm just
Told
like,
you.
hmm,
Told you. Nobody cares about urban
is that
legends.
sensitive? Is that a sensitive subject to like play around with it and not acknowledge it? Or like,
Well,
is it kind of insensitive in the sense of like for Damien as a character, not necessarily Williamson for not
mhm.
acknowledging it, but for Damien for not acknowledging it, right?
Well, I mean, look, it depends on how real you want to get with these characters, right? Like, if imagining these boys growing up together, nothing's off limits. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I feel like that particular thing wouldn't really be, an issue. Like, I feel like Damien would use it to make somebody mad. Like, that's just his
Yeah.
kind of character.
Yeah.
And but I don't know. It's really interesting. But anyways, we do get to this instance where you're not gonna outrun Grayson. Like he's Nightwing. Like he's
Yeah.
gonna beat you. And this is what got me. I was like, okay, so he's all right, you caught me, like where am I going? He's like, he gives him something. He's like, we've all been through this. Like, it's just your journey. Like everybody's been through this, every Robin's been through it. I had to go through it as well. Well, he gives him, I'm assuming it's the trapeze bar, right?
Yeah.
That it's a trapeze bar from when he was one of the Flying Graysons. And he's having this like emotional speech with Damien, and Damien takes off his mask, and he was like, I was there, like I saw it. And he's talking about Alfred. And he was all like, I heard the snap. And he's kind of talking about it, and they're like having this emotional this emotional moment and everything like that. And what does he say? He's like, why are you telling me this? He is like, Tim, Steph, Jason, we're all Robins to Bruce first, but you were my Robin.
Robin.
Like,
Yeah.
I was just like, damn, that was good.
That
That was really
I
good.
really enjoyed this conversation between Damien and Dick Grayson because a lot of people who probably jumped on to DC Comics when DC really wanted them to, which would be New 52,
Yeah.
probably still don't know about the relationship with Dick Grayson and Damien. Yeah, you would still know it if you like jumped into something like a Grayson with him
Yeah.
being the spy and whatnot, because they play a little bit on it there, but they never really talk about it anywhere else.
Mhm.
So now that we have something that has connected all of continuity together, we now know that, and people, who didn't know beforehand, you know, there was a time where Dick Grayson was Robin. I mean,
Yeah.
Dick Grayson was Batman,
Batman.
sorry. And Damian was his Robin. They had a very special bond. And putting this in there, I was like, that's fucking awesome. Like,
Yeah.
that is dope. I really enjoy the fact, like, and then after that, he's like, uh Dick Grayson's like, "Oh no, Damien, don't run. Oh no, I can't catch you." And like
Yeah.
kind of playing off of it. And and the rest of the guys and Stephanie, like, they all know. They're like, "Oh, you're a big sad sap. Like,
Yeah.
why couldn't you just fucking do it?"
Mhm.
And he says, like, "We've all had our chance to fly solo.
Mhm.
Like, now it's Damien's turn. Like, he needs to have this journey on his own." And like a part of me is like, but you're the Bat family, like blah
Yeah.
blah. But he is right. Like, I
Mhm.
have read a Nightwing freaking solo story. I've read a Tim Drake Robin like freaking run that's 120 something issues. Like, Stephanie has had her own stories. Jason has definitely had his own stories. We haven't really had the chance to really have Damien on his own.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to really have that. Now, because of Williamson being on Batman and him making that tease
Mhm.
of them being together, I don't think Robin will last more than 12 issues. I think it'll be two trades, it'll be two volumes, and then he'll go back to Gotham to team up with Batman, and then they will leave and do whatever, because
Yeah.
apparently still Batman is leaving Gotham, which I think is stupid. But I shared with you a theory that a friend of mine had, that somehow Alfred is probably going to be coming back at the end of this whole Damien run. They have
Yeah.
been teasing the presence of Alfred, whether it be a ghost or just a voice in Damien's head. I told you I am guessing that with the reward at the end of this tournament, Damien is going to be able to bring Alfred back to life.
Yeah, because apparently they mention it in this book that apparently the Lazarus crew or whoever these people are on this island are were teaming up with the League of Assassins, and the League of Assassins gave them that book for the Lazarus water, I guess, or whatever. Like they made a trade. And so apparently this book that this crew has is very important. And I don't know if this is going to be something else in the world that allows people to come back to life because obviously everybody on this island has died, and they're having this tournament of dead people.
Yeah.
So I'm very. This is the one thing at the end of the book. They're like the tournament starts, and they all kind of like just charged at each other. I was like, that's a shitty tournament. So
I was literally thinking it's the tournament of power. It's just gonna be a
yeah,
giant free for all.
and I would have preferred them to be separate fights.
Like brackets. Yeah.
Yeah, well, just like My Hero or even the way, the Cell games happen, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
1v1, all that kinda shit. But yeah, the Tournament of Power where everybody's in a Royal Rumble, like, that's just kind of too much in my opinion. At least you could have told a story between each character, like, if maybe you could have pushed this out for 3 issues or something like that, and then it would've just been, like, the first issue is Damian getting through his first fight, and then getting to the next bracket and all that jazz. But here's the thing, like, that theory, I can totally see that theory happening of him winning the tournament and getting Alfred back. I don't think he should win the tournament though. Because like it's
No?
too easy. It's too easy for him to
It
win the
is too
tournament.
easy, but you know he's the hero.
Yeah, but we also know that heroes don't always win. Because the thing is, see, here's the thing. He's the hero, but he's also the hero on a journey right now. And if he loses this tournament but realizes that he found something more important, and that is that he does want to be Robin, I think that's a victory. So like,
Yeah, I mean, I just recently saw something about, I mean, unrelated to Batman, but there was a picture of Toby, and somebody's like, nobody will understand how great this Spider-Man was with the struggles of him being poor, and for every
mhm,
win there was 2 or 3 losses. And I kind of feel like majority of the Bat family kind of has the same thing. So
yeah.
I kind of understand why Damien. Well, I understand why you wouldn't want Damien to win
Yeah.
in that instance.
But it could also be interesting too if the prize is like you can bring somebody back, then I don't know how it would work necessarily. I guess he could tie it into the current story because I think you mentioned this. But what if Connor Hawk wins and brings back fucking Red Arrow?
But see, I don't know. So from what Infinite Frontier is showing us,
Mhm.
they don't know because they're realizing that people are back from the dead, but not everybody because they of course haven't interacted with some of these people.
Yeah.
I don't think the rest of the superheroes know if Red Arrow is dead or alive right now.
Well, that's the
Like
thing though,
there's
like
only some people who do know.
yeah, I don't know if Robin is before or after Frontier, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
technically, with Heroes in Crisis, we know he's dead.
Yeah.
So, and we haven't seen Connor Hawk in forever, so he could have been like, my dad would have wanted this. You know what I mean? If he wants to get like on his dad's good side or whatever. And maybe doing something like that. Or what if what's her name wins, right? Because she was showing that she was a good, like she was trying to help out Damien or help out Red Hood or some shit like that. Like, what if there's something better there? Maybe she wins and she wants to bring somebody back. Is her brother dead? Maybe she would bring back her brother or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it would be interesting. Like, I get it. I think it's just, I always like when, kind of like what's happening in Catwoman right now, where you feel like you know exactly what's about to happen and then they change it right at the end. You're like, oh, I didn't see that coming. So I kind of like that. But right now, I'm like, Damien's going to win the tournament. Like, that's just how
Mhm.
I see it. Now, if they
Yeah.
are doing this tournament of power type thing where it's a Royal Rumble, I wouldn't mind him getting jumped at the end, and that's how he loses. Because then I'm like, all right, that way it took like 3 guys to beat his ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that's how he loses. But yeah, for right now, I just think, oh, he's gonna win. Like, so we'll see what happens. But I don't know how I feel about the whole Robin. I mean, the whole like Robin bringing back Alfred. I can see it because he thinks he's the reason, and so like that's the redemption arc. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's been interesting without Alfred. I'll say that. And I still think there's a lot more stories you can tell without Alfred. And then when you bring him back, what's going to happen? Does Barbara get to go back to being Batgirl? Are we going to stop caring about Spoiler and Cassandra? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious on what they're going to do. Although I would love to have Batgirl back instead of just being Oracle. Although people for some reason love Oracle. I don't get that, but it is what it is.
She's a better character.
Yeah, right. Whatever. Somebody hasn't. Those people haven't read Gail Simone's New 52 run, so because she's a badass there.
Well,
Um.
that just makes Gail Simone a ableist
Oh.
because she was Oracle and then turned back into Batgirl. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. I don't. What is the opposite of that? Like, because they put her in a wheelchair first, like second. Like she was, able-bodied before. Like, why is only it can only happen one way? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand that mindset. Like, it's okay to
Yeah,
go
it's
from being ableist to disabled, but not disabled to being. Because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there that would love to like. There's people out there that are fighting to walk again every single day. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand that mindset.
I mean, I guess I could be canceled for this, but like how shitty are people to be like, "Hey, your life's so much better now that you're paralyzed."
Yeah,
Like
that's
like
that
how the
sounds
fuck.
terrible. I get the mindset. I get what you're saying, but that is how some of the people come across. Like we're
I
not we're
know.
not putting that out there like that, everybody, just to be clear. But that mindset is weird. And we're seeing a lot of that mindset today. Like when it comes to politics and stuff, people are like, you have to be this way and only this way. And it makes no sense. But yeah, I've just never really understood that whole like people want Barbara in a wheelchair. Like, I get it. Like, I get there's representation and all that stuff, but she was a popular character before that. And, it's not like they were just like, your legs work now. No, she went through a medical procedure that is, in our time, would be a miracle. But
Yeah.
like, science is trying to do that today. We just don't, comics can speed up technology. Like, it's just what happens. You know what I mean? And yeah, I've just never understood that mindset. We know a couple of people that used to be bloggers, or aware of people that used to be bloggers that were really big on that.
Yeah.
And
I haven't heard anything from her in like 3 years. Like
yeah,
2
I don't
years.
know. I just know the last time I remember her talking about anything was the Tom King is a fucking fascist, or she said something like hardcore
Yeah.
about Tom King just because. Was it the fucking Heroes in Crisis thing?
I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah, like, Lois Lane being in her underwear or something like that. Sorry, reporters can't be sexy, y'all. If you wanna be sexy and a reporter, apparently you can't do it. But yeah, anyways, let's move on to the final book in this podcast, and that is freaking Detective Comics. What did you think of this issue? Beautifully drawn, but was kinda weird.
Yeah, it was a little weird. I mean, this whole story, like we knew, okay, Batman isn't gonna be a fucking blood sucking parasite for the rest of comics. So we knew this was eventually going to get like an ending, a conclusion. But like also, again, it's it's really hard to like enjoy these moments with our realistic brains, but also like have these arguments that like there shouldn't be anything too realistic in fucking comics because that's what makes it awesome. But
Yeah.
like also there's this whole thing with him being this like infected individual, and then you find out that because of all the shit that he's been through as Batman, he was able to hold back and not fucking infect anybody else.
Yeah.
Like he
My
he he
thing is
he said it to Huntress, and I was just like, okay, I kind of get it, but
Mhm.
at the same time, like my I think my biggest hang up on this entire conclusion is the fact that he accidentally coughed up the parasite, and then Huntress was able to shoot it.
That's your biggest issue with this? Is that?
I
Does
I
he
mean
cough it up? Or does he get
I
punched?
think so Batman crashes through the window, she
Uh-huh.
ducks, or she like uses the momentum to throw Batman. It
Oh,
hits
I see it, I see it.
freaking what's his name? Hugh Vile.
Mhm.
Um and then he coughs up the giant parasite thing. and she shoots it.
Yeah, I see
And
that.
I guess, like, I don't know if he's dead or not. I'm pretty sure he is because it was killing him from the inside out, apparently.
Mhm.
But, like, I don't know.
Maybe the
I
parasite was trying to jump to Batman?
maybe.
So, that could be it. The one thing I will say here, the art in this is obviously gorgeous, Dan
It's
Mora. It's not Dan
no,
Mora?
no, this isn't more. This
No?
is Victor Bondanovich.
Oh, shit.
He
Alright,
is
well,
a
sorry,
student
mister.
of Capullo.
Really? This looks better than Capullo,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
he is a student of Capullo.
So
He has a lot of the like roundness of people's like
yeah.
faces the same way that Capullo does.
I was getting so used to Mora because of the darkness he was doing lately.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is actually a different artist, but this is Cthulhu Batman, essentially. So we're seeing a lot of that. Here's my thing. I'm not worried about, like, I know we're trying to we disband belief and all that stuff. My biggest thing is how the way it's drawn, right? It looks like this parasite has taken over Batman's full face, essentially ripping his jaw off
Yes.
and
Yes.
looking like a monster. And then there's like a really close up, and it's just got like little pincers in his mouth. And I'm like, well, that looks very different compared to what we're seeing. It looks like his
Yeah,
whole
like
jaw is ripped off.
compared to what we get in the very beginning of this issue,
Yeah.
because like the fucking title card looks immaculate. It like
Hmm.
has all the shadows. That's where you see all the fucking tentacles and everything. Then the next page, you really do see how it's like ripping his cowl like near his
Yeah.
like chin and neck, and so you're like, okay, he is clearly like he no longer has a jaw anymore.
Hmm.
But that when you actually see him fighting freaking Worth,
Hmm.
and he like Batman or Bruce starts to like gain control or whatever, that's when you see more of like the tentacles coming out of the mouth instead of through his freaking chin.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I
I
don't.
could see that. I could see why you would be confused or and a little disappointed at the fact that like they kind of switched it up
Yeah,
mid
so it
comic.
looks kind of weird. I If they would have just thrown in like, "Oh, the parasite has crazy healing properties," then I would have been like, "All right, fuck it. They said that. I'll believe it." But yeah, it was just kind of weird because it does look like his whole jaw is ripped off. But I mean, the art does look pretty amazing. I think this was pretty cool. And then I'm loving Blue Suit Batman and everything. And then yeah, it looks like there's possibility of this parasite coming back because this
Yeah.
little like bit of it rolls down the drain. Classic. But yeah, it doesn't look like I don't I don't really know where they're going from here. I know they go to the grave of, it looks like that girl, right? The cat girl at the
Yeah.
start, or no, Sarah
No,
Worth.
no,
This is a
it's
different girl.
Sarah Worth.
Yeah,
It's the person who died at the very beginning of this whole
yeah.
story. My big thing is in both the Batman title and in Detective Comics, like the mayor, Makano, or I forgot
Hmm.
his name already.
Makio
Like,
or something like that.
yeah, they made him out to be like this big thing, and he's only been in the background. Like he
Yeah.
hasn't been a big player whatsoever or a big character at all.
Mhm.
So I kind of want him in it more, like for me to actually care about him being mayor of Gotham City. But
Yeah.
you're right, I have no fucking clue where they're gonna like what they're gonna do with the Detective Comics title. Like, there's nothing in here that tells me, oh, this is where they're going next. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna be very interested to see how, Tamaki is going to work with Williamson now, like, how that's gonna go.
Oh, that is why it feels weird because it says next Fear State.
Yeah. So, do you wanna know something that I just realized, like, recently when I started reading all these books? I thought the guy that was running the Peacekeeper program was the same guy that was this Parasite dude. I thought it was the
They
same guy.
kind of look the same.
Yeah, and I was just
Totally
all
agree.
like, I was like, "Why is the Parasite guy also doing the Peacekeeper program and working with Scarecrow?" I was like, "This guy's doing a lot," but they're like two different dudes, and I was like, "Oh shit!" But yeah, they have the same kind of weird, like lanky, weird guy aesthetic. But yeah, no, the art in here was badass. So if you guys want to check out some really amazing art, definitely go check out this latest issue of Detective. But yeah, we are about to head into Fear State for the next 3 months.
For
So,
both
or
books?
yeah,
Fuck.
Fierce. I think it's Alpha comes out next week, doesn't it?
Well, I know, but like, is Detective Comics only going to have the one tie-in, or is it going to be tied in to this for the next 3 months?
I don't see why it wouldn't be tied in because I actually skimmed that Harley Quinn book, and that is following the same storyline as the whole like Harley. I mean, Ivy's kind of being weird right now. Once she gets back to
Well,
normal,
actually,
blah blah
I
blah.
think I have. Okay, so I have the freaking uh lineup
Hmm.
right now. It
I'm pretty
says
sure
here,
everything is going to be Fear State.
what are we? We're at the end of freaking August. So September, Batman, I Am Batman, Batman, Batman Secret Files, Catwoman, Nightwing, Detective Comics. Fuck.
Hmm.
Batman, Detective Comics, Detective Comics. Fuck.
Yep.
We're doing Fear State for the next three. Well, let's see here. All the rest of August, right?
It's all the way
Because
to
we have.
December.
Oh well, yeah. We're basically ending August already. So
Yeah.
September. So September, October, November, and then the first week of December.
Yeah. 3 months. So
Fuck.
yep, we've been through this with fucking what was it? Villain, Year of the Villain or whatever the fuck it
Yeah,
was. That fucking never ended. It was so bad too. So yeah,
that fucking
this is gonna
sucks.
be James Tynan's swan song. Cause
Before he fucking leaves. I
yeah,
mean,
so
I guess that's the way to go out. Be like, hey, everybody needs to follow my book. Okay, peace.
yeah. Like we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I've read some of the upcoming stuff already. Some of it's interesting. I will say that. I've read Batcat. My problem is the art, not the story. But like, we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it's gonna be an we're gonna be ending the year probably on a sour note, unless Fear State just is good out of nowhere without us expecting to be. But after everything that's been happening, I don't expect it to be. I feel like Tynan is doing exactly what Snyder did. He's going to mail in the final run that he's doing, and then he's going to the indies. Like, because
Yeah,
Snyder's death metal was fucking awful. And so like I hope it's not that bad because we just stopped caring. We were just like, no, I don't care. Like
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
glad
It
Tynan's
was
not
bad.
yeah, I'm glad Tynan's not doing any kind of he's not doing the dry erase board thing, is he? Hey guys, we have all these books, but if you pre-order this, we got a bunch of extras. Does he do that too on
Not that
Twitter?
I have seen. No,
Did Williamson ever respond to you?
no. I was waiting for it, but
Weak.
he did not.
Weak. I told Clay, since I'm not on Twitter anymore, to tell Williamson if he's going to use Catwoman, but he's probably like, I don't want to say that. But we'll see what happens. But that's going to be it for this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, you guys have been enjoying the content. Clay, what do you got coming up this week?
So, this time tomorrow, around this time tomorrow, I'm actually going to be a part of a live stream. There's a little bit of a rivalry going on with me and a guy named Travis Snell. We're going to be doing another Rocket League game. It's going to be 2v2 this time with my co host of DC Alliance. We're all on the same network. We're going to be running that tomorrow. This weekend, not much of anything, but there should be a lot of good stuff coming out for DC Alliance live on Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll probably talk a lot of the stuff we just talked about here, but I'm sure there will be, because a lot of stuff for DC drops on Monday, like right before the live stream. So I'm sure there will be plenty of stuff there.
Yeah. Nice, nice. I have been putting out a lot of content on my channels, everybody. I guess we could just kind of announce this right now, but we are hoping to have the Batman News Weekly YouTube channel up and running hopefully by the next podcast. So if you guys are getting tired of listening to this on whatever place you want to listen to this on, it will be available on YouTube just for those people that are not able to pay for Spotify or any other place that you can get this podcast. I do want to throw it up on YouTube. It's not going to be video yet. We still need to work that out and test that out in the future, but at least the podcast will eventually be on YouTube, hopefully within the next week. It's something I'm working on right now. And I've also been posting videos on the reaction channel and the gaming channel. Highly suggest you go check that out. Also, if you do watch on YouTube when we finally have it, it'll be so much easier to talk to us and to fucking get our links to all our other stuff. So, because you'll
Yes.
be able to get it right in the description. But yeah, other than that, go check out my TikTok. That's going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. As always, he is Fanboy Clay. I am Juice Wayne. Remember, Batman is awesome. See you guys next time.
See you.
All right.